Hello everyone, I invite you to every Friday review of the leading cryptocurrencies. Let's start by checking the current situation on the BTC pair to USDT, taking into account the one-day interval. First of all, we will use the yellow line to mark the downtrend line, which the price has overcome upwards. Now we can move on to marking the places of support in the event of a correction. And here it is worth first to mark the first support at $25,965. Then we have the second support at $23,905, the third support at $22,459, and then the fourth support at $20,768. Looking the other way, in a similar way using the fib retracement tool, we can determine the places of resistance. First, we will mark a very strong resistance at $28,794, from which the price bounced several times, but when it comes out higher, we have another very strong resistance at $32,422. As we can see, the Ema Cross 10 and 30 indicate an ongoing uptrend. Please pay attention to the CHOP index, which indicates that we have a lot of energy for the upcoming move. The MACD indicator indicates entering a local downtrend. While the RSI is in the process of a slight rebound, but there is still room for a deeper correction. As the second chart in today's review, we'll be looking at ETH versus USDT on a one-day time frame. First of all, using the blue lines, we can mark the uptrend channel in which the price is currently moving. Now let's move on to marking the places of support. We will use the trend-based fib extension tool to mark the supports, and as you can see, we first have a support zone from $1,801 to $1,759. If the price falls below this zone, then the second support at $1,715, the third at $1,650, then the fourth support at a price of $1,569. Looking the other way, we can also mark the places where the price should encounter resistance on the way to increases. And here we have the first very strong resistance at $1,978, the next resistance at $2,060, then the third resistance at $2,126, and the fourth resistance at $2,195. The CHOP index indicates that there is still some energy left for the next move. The MACD indicator remains in an uptrend. On the other hand, the RSI, despite the rebound, is in the upper part of the range, which may indicate a deeper correction. As the third in today's statement, we will check the situation on the DOT chart, taking into account the one-day interval. First, we will use the yellow line to mark the downtrend line from which the price went up. Moving on, we can move on to marking support areas when we start a larger correction. And here we see that the price is just below the first support. Then we have a support zone from $6.11 to $5.93 in front of the price. Third support at $5.74, and then fourth support at $5.49. Looking the other way, we see first resistance at $6.53, then second resistance at $6.86, then third resistance at $7.32. It is worth paying attention to the Ema Cross 10 and 30. We can see that the red line of the Ema Cross 10 is moving just below the Ema Cross 30. The crossing of the green line by the red line can confirm the change of the trend to an uptrend. Please look at the CHOP index, which indicates that we have a lot of energy for the upcoming move. The MACD indicates that we have entered an uptrend, while the RSI has left the downtrend. Now let's move on to the last BNB chart in today's chart and pair to USDT on a 4-hour interval. First of all, using the blue lines, we can mark the local downtrend channel in which the price is currently moving. Now let's move on to marking the places of support. We will use the fib retracement tool to mark the supports, and here it is worth marking the support zone in the first order where the price is from $315.50 to $305.80. The second support at the price of $296.30, and then the third support at the price of $282.06. Looking the other way, we can also mark the places where the price should encounter resistance on the way to increases. And here we have the first strong resistance at $317.60. Then we can mark the resistance zone from $323.20 to $328.70. When it manages to break it, the next resistance is at $336.50, and then the fourth at $346.06. The CHOP index indicates that the energy has been used. The MACD indicator is in an uptrend. On the other hand, on the RSI we see a rebound to the lower part of the range, which creates room for new increases. Technical analysis is provided by a third party, and for informational purposes only. It does not reflect the views of CryptoDaily, nor is it intended to be used as legal, tax, investment, or financial advice.